Okay, folks, we're back. We're back. I'm your host, BKP, and we're getting ready for Instant Replay. Instant Replay with Dave Garner, and that's at 10 o'clock, so don't go anywhere. But let me say this, all right? I have told you over and over on this show, and this is what I basically want to close with this morning, is do not fall for one single Democrat that tells you they will not support Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House. Don't believe it, okay? The DCCC, which is the Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee, she is the largest, #1 fundraiser. Nobody raises money like Nancy, okay? Now, I've told you all over, and Republicans, you need to get out and you need to put this out. I have told you all over, no matter what Democrat says, okay, no matter what Democrat says, they will not support Nancy Pelosi, okay, for Speaker of the House, is lying to you. I told you that Nancy Pelosi is sitting back and just saying, go do. I've told you how many times on this show, I said, Nancy is saying, go do whatever you got to do to win. Lie. Some are saying, well, you would think Nancy Pelosi was upset, would be upset, okay, that so many of these Democrat candidates are out there saying, well, we won't support her. We need new blood in there. We will not support Nancy Pelosi for Speaker of the House. So I've said over and over, that's not the case, folks. It don't matter what they tell you. It's a lie. They will get up there and they will be put in a room, and when they come out the other end, they will be lockstep with Nancy Pelosi, and they will be straight and they will do what Nancy says. So play that little clip from this little question and answer session Nancy Pelosi just held recently. Play that clip I sent you.
Let me ask you one more question before we go to some questions that were submitted by the audience.
From the audience. Oh,
let me just ask you one last question, which is, if the Democrats take the House, are you going to be the person with the gavel in your hand, and are you going to be the person that calls up Donald Trump to try and work with him?
Yes, I anticipate that I will be the person with the gavel in hand, but I haven't asked anybody for a vote. In fact, I've told the candidates, do whatever you have to do. Just win, baby. Let's just win. But I do think that I'm in very good shape with my caucus.
There you go. I have told the candidates, just do whatever you have to do. Just win, baby. I think I'm in pretty good shape with my caucus. I think I will have the gavel. Folks, don't think for 1 minute that don't think for 1 minute if Democrats take over the House, that she won't have the gavel. If Democrats take over the House, last Thursday you witnessed the beginning of the impeachment trials or hearings for President Trump. Yes, he will be impeached for keeping his campaign promises to the American people. Trust me, okay? You can't figure out and you can't get a grip on common sense that says, why is Brett Kavanaugh going through this? That's the same feeling you will have when the President of the United States is going through it if Nancy Pelosi is Speaker of the House, as she will be. So you should find that clip. You should go through everything and make sure everybody you know has an understanding that Nancy Pelosi, if the Democrats take back the House, okay, if they take back the House, they will support her. And yes, they will, and they'll be happy to. They don't want to make that mistake. Now, another thing for Republicans, there's two things. Number one, for some reason, okay, and I often question this. For some reason, the news media, when they're interviewing Republican candidates, for some reason they never ask the candidates who they will support for Speaker of the House. So we have Jim Jordan, and we have McCarthy, okay? Kevin McCarthy. All right? And I'm telling you right now, McCarthy and Jordan, we don't need to, as Republicans, let me explain this, we don't need to discuss Speaker of the House yet. We can discuss Speaker of the House the day after the election when the Republicans retain the leadership. If the Republicans do not retain the leadership, okay, then we have nothing to talk about. Nothing at all. Because that will be, I'll tell you what, you got a lot of Republicans up there in the House of Representatives that are new and have committee. There's some jockeying going back and forth because with Paul Ryan, all right, let me say this. If, when you ask, and I want to say this, when you ask why the President of the United States signed the spending bill with no money for the border wall, the President of the United States keeps his promises, okay? He keeps his promises. And the one promise that has not been kept that's at the top of the list is the money for border security, as he requested and promised the American people. So Trump gets things done. He promised the American people he'd put conservative judges on the bench. That is happening. Now, you not just forget Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch. You should look at the lower level bench that Trump has been putting an enormous amount of conservative judges, which, number one, that should be Don McGahn. If that's Don McGahn, put it up. This guy right here has 2 years. Remember, I love because the media does not dig into this. This guy, Don McGahn, he was the campaign, Donald Trump's campaign attorney. He was the transition attorney for the Trump transition team, president-elect, and he's been chief counsel, White House chief counsel for 2 years, okay? And this guy right here has helped Donald Trump stack the court, regardless of how people like to hear that, stack the court with conservatives Don McGahn has. All right? So, President of the United States is plowing through, loading the courts up with conservatives, as a promise made. Plowing through, cutting regulations. Plowing through, changing trade deals to benefit the United States of America. Plowing through, cutting taxes for the people in this country. I mean, one thing after another, if he promised it, he's doing it. So the wall will happen. So he said yesterday, President Donald Trump said yesterday, hey, I think we should, he didn't say shut it down, but I guess they were implying that he didn't get money. I think we should do something about it now, but, you know, I think it would help some of these candidates. See, I think that too. I think it would help some of these candidates, all right? But he said, you know, some of the candidates out there, they're in some really close races, so they're asking me and begging me, hey, you know, don't do it now. I don't want to take that chance. So he says, I'm not going to do it now, but I will. Right after midterms, you know what's coming up. I think after midterms, he's going to shut the United States down, okay? Period. Without the border wall money. So I think you're going to get that right after this. But let me just say this. Paul Ryan is leaving. Okay? Paul Ryan is leaving, which leaves the opening for the next Speaker of the House to be A, Nancy Pelosi, or B, Jim Jordan, or C, Kevin McCarthy. And the next Speaker of the House for Republicans has to be somebody to hand Donald Trump a conservative budget. That's the bottom line. So anyhow, get ready for that. Don't forget, Nancy Pelosi will be Speaker of the House. It's the bottom line. She will be if you allow, okay? if you allow, okay, if you allow Nancy Pelosi, and I say that to become the next Speaker of the House. I was just looking over a couple articles, trying to look over some things before we close the show here. Friday, let's just say it like this. Friday, the Mitch McConnell says there will be a vote. That's all there is to it. There will be a vote. All right. And in that vote, Friday, I don't think the Democrats will stand for this week. They will want to move the goalpost, as Mitch McConnell says. They will go crazy this week that the FBI has to expand the investigation, and they will want, there's three things that I think they might want. They may want Kavanaugh to come back to the committee. They may want, but now it's been voted and sent out to the floor for a vote. They may say that they want it to go back in committee because they want to ask Kavanaugh some questions. They will try to disqualify him, saying he drank too much in high school and college, and he lied to the committee. They will do everything they can to invent something this week. It's only Tuesday, okay? They are working now around the clock to invent something to try to stop him between now and Friday. They are, folks. You're far from done. We have this text message suggests Kavanaugh wanted to refute accusers' claim before it became public. All right, so they're saying there's some text messages out there now. I want to go to this before we close, because Donald Trump made this happen, and they will not report this. But the president of South Korea says Donald Trump is more than just a friend. More than just a friend to him. Okay? Go to number 18. North Korea delivers remains to South Korea. Now, for the people of South Korea, that is very important to them. Okay? The remains, all right, from the Korean War are being delivered to South Korea. Right now, they are looking for and promising more remains are on their way from our U.S. military men in South Korea. I mean, in North Korea. This is the kind of stuff that's happening that did not happen in the past. And let's go to, you can laugh all day long. Let's go to number 17. Okay? The White House plans for a second summit between Trump and Kim. A second summit. Right now. Folks, yesterday I got a chance to see Brian Kemp, talk with Brian Kemp. All right? And go ahead and take that down. Let's put up number 15 just to close the show here. I did not ask Brian Kemp yesterday these questions, but I hope Secretary of State, Republican candidate for governor here in Georgia, Brian Kemp, is not trying to distance himself from Donald Trump. Number one. And I hope he will be the unapologetic conservative that he said during the primary. Because let me tell you something out there. There's enough men and women that are living in the real world, okay? Enough men and women that are actually out on a daily basis trying to make a living and support their families. That although they feel on some days Trump's a little out there, they know for a fact that he keeps his word to the American people. NAFTA. George H. Bush had NAFTA sitting there ready on the desk for Bill Clinton to sign. Bill Clinton came in and signed it, okay? NAFTA has destroyed this country. Absolutely been a total disaster for our workers, our manufacturers, and this country from coast to coast. And Donald Trump had the nerve to stop it. What that says on the screen is the USMCA agreement, no more NAFTA trade deal, protects intellectual property, more open trade access for U.S. farmers, better protections for auto workers, increased labor protections, and added sunset clause. It'll automatically expire, I think, in 15 years. It has to be redone. President of the United States, $1.2 trillion agreement. NAFTA is gone, folks. Promises made, promises kept. So if you're out there and you're a politician and you're running from the President of the United States, you're running from the men and women that have a little bit of common sense that's going to work every day. And I don't think I'd run from the President of the United States. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We'll be back tomorrow morning, Thursday, here. And then Friday, we will be at Circuit World. We're doing our shows now at Circuit World. No longer at Sycamore Crossing, just based on the weather. So Friday, we'll be at Circuit World in Blue Ridge. And right now, you stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, because after these brief messages, it'll be time for Instant Replay with Dave Gardner. Josh, take us out of here, buddy.